Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music, and some of those other forms are going to come into play today. So, we're back with the series that we're running for the entire length of July, 31 favorite albums that introduced me to these bands. So, of course, I explained a little bit about what we're going to do yesterday. I'm going to continue just with a small explanation again. So, basically, these are albums that I owned that introduced me to the band. Now, some bands, like I used the example of Thin Lizzy yesterday, I was well introduced to the band before I bought my first album by them years later, so I didn't include them in it because the album itself didn't actually introduce me to the band. In this case, this one's a little bit sketchy here. I, of course, knew of this vocalist because he had been part of a big band that I absolutely loved. But his introduction to his own music was absolutely as a result of this album, because up until that, I had only heard the stuff that he had done with his original band. So I kind of think this fits this mold very well, and I'm going to stick with it. So coming in at number 30 on July the 2nd, second day in already, is Ozzy Osbourne's Blizzard of Oz. I'm going to try to get as close as I can so you can see this album. Yeah, I really like this cover, and this was the first kind of time that I saw Ozzy's logo, which I thought was absolutely killer back in the day. Still is kind of unique. You see that Ozzy, you all know immediately who they're talking about, right? So the Madman himself here on the Blizzard of Oz was my first album. The story about this album, okay, so Ozzy at this point had gone solo. Some of this information I didn't get till many years later. I didn't realize that when he was doing the Never Say Die tour with Black Sabbath, which is where he came from, he was wearing a Blizzard of Oz shirt. So he was already gone, even though he was on the tour with Sabbath at the time. So the thing that really introduced me to this is I was at the gym working out. So it was in, I believe it was moving towards the summer of 81. I've been training at that point for about a year or so. And they always played the Q107, which is a rock station in Toronto. And that's where I was living at the time. And they go, this is a new album from a legendary rocker, Ozzy Osbourne. And they played I Don't Know and Crazy Train. And I went from the gym, as soon as I got out of the gym, I got on my bike and I went all the way down to Sam the Record Man on Yonge Street, and I purchased the album in vinyl at that time, of course. Later I got a CD of it, not CD, cassette of it, and this is actually my first copy in compact disc. So, absolutely killer album, one of the best releases of that year. Huge impact for not only Ozzy and his career and the fans that he developed, but also for myself at that time. I Don't Know was my favorite song on the album. Killer track. And then you have Crazy Train, which is the one that everybody knows, the big one. But he's got some good stuff on this. Goodbye to Romance, and then the two real heavy tunes, Suicide Solution and Mr. Crowley, absolutely killers. No Bone Movies, another really good deep track, heavy. And you got Steal Away the Night, absolutely killer. And then on this particular album, you also have some bonuses. You're Looking at Me, Looking at You, Goodbye to Romance, the guitar vocal part. And then there's an RR, but I'm not really sure what that. Oh, Randy Rhoads bit. Probably just they did. I think there's a little clip of Randy Rhoads at the end. So for those of you who don't know, Randy Rhoads was the guitar player for this band initiating. Absolutely incredible guitar player, doing that tapping style that Eddie Van Halen started, doing his own thing as well. Yeah, absolutely the beginning of the 1980s sound for guitar, and this guy was incredible. Unfortunately, he didn't last long enough to really get a real strong feel for him. to me, his actual best stuff is on the EP that Ozzy put out with You Said It All, Mr. Crowley, and Suicidal Solution. Absolutely dynamite stuff on that. But this album, yeah, introduced me, and that's the story about how I came to hear this album and get it, and what got me into Ozzy. And for a while, I was a huge Ozzy fan. He was probably pretty close to my top 5 bands by the time he did Diary of a Madman, which came out the following year. But absolutely killer start and brought me to Ozzy. It's funny, as soon as Randy died, I don't know what happened. I tried to listen to the third studio album, which I think is called Bark at the Moon. I think it's Bark at the Moon. I actually have it here somewhere. And it wasn't bad. It was okay, but that was it. I was gone. Here and gone, faster than grease lightning, I guess is the word. So, yeah. Ozzy Osbourne's Blizzard of Oz, day number 2. My top 30. This is number 30 on day number 2 of this series for the month of July, which is my 31 favorite rock albums that introduced me to these bands. So there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please hit the like and subscribe. Don't forget to make your own comments. Did you enter Ozzy on the same thing, or maybe you don't like Ozzy at all? You can put any comments you want below. And don't forget to hit the notification bell. And we will see you tomorrow with the day number 29, or pick number 29 on day number 3. Take care. Bye.